are you accusing of treason?
What's the definition of treason,
If you are going to accuse somebody of treason in this country, that is a reprehensible thing to do, and I would ask that you name who you were accusing of treason.
Your questions, but you need to answer mine. What is the definition of treason? Do you have any idea?
Well, I'd be curious. You name somebody as being treasonous, so who are they, and what's your definition?
I asked you what the definition of treason is. Do you know what it is?
Betraying your country.
No, that's not it. It is actually, very simply, knowingly communicating military or scientific information or documents to an agent of a state other than Canada with the intention of jeopardizing the safety or defense of Canada.
So
did that happen at this lab?
In neither you nor I are a lawyer, but you and I would both know that calling somebody something like a...
You know what, Minister? You're not a doctor, but you made a whole bunch of claims today that are non-scientific.
But naming somebody...
Well.
Saying that somebody is a traitor, okay, is a very serious accusation, and I would say that it's normally a matter that would be determined by courts. Yeah. And but so I'm asking, I had asked you who you would...
the definition is, Minister. You have no idea. You're clueless.
Well, that's your characterization, and I don't know that. I think you felt that. But sir, you felt that way before you met me. You're so blinded by your partisanship, you would have thought that about me before you even spoke to me.
No, you've proven it today that you don't know the facts of your file. That's the worst part.
I don't know what the purpose is.
Excuse me.
To be said, if all of your seatmates are this successful, there's obviously a lot of wise counsel and advice that you're sharing with the people you're sitting next to. So I thank you for that. You've been a tremendous friend and such an extraordinary colleague over these very many long years. Bobby, wonderful to see you as well. And I think for Sean and Bobby, this is a very exciting day for us. And this is an opportunity to build on the work that we've done together. You know, I really want to say to Mark, Minister McLean, you've been such an exceptional partner. You know, when one of the first places I came, Sean, you will recall, we had a conversation. I just became health minister. Sean said, you got to come to PEI. We're doing some really important things here on pharmacare that are really foundational to what we need to do across the country. And so I got on a plane right away, had an opportunity. Mark, we did an event where we talked about the extraordinary things that pilot is doing, saving islanders hundreds of dollars, reducing their copay to $5, totally transformational, not just in terms of affordability, but also in terms of their health. Because we know when people get the medicine they need, they don't get sick, right? And that's the health system that we need. We need to move from an illness-based system to a wellness-based system. So today we take another really essential step in that journey. And this is a more than $30 million deal over the next 4 years to provide universal access to contraceptives and diabetes medications, devices, and supplies for residents of PEI. This will ensure that nearly 16,000 islanders for diabetes can access their essential medicines. It will provide reproductive freedom for more than 41,000 islanders. Coverage for these products is going to begin the 1st of May. And before I turn it over to my friend, Minister McLean, let's just talk about what that means. And, you know, Jen, you and I were talking a little bit about that earlier, about the personal stories, the people in our lives, and I'll leave it to you to share that. But just what the journey is like for somebody who gets a diagnosis of diabetes. And just imagine how difficult that is on its face. Your life is transformed. The life of your family is transformed. And then you got to mix into that for so many families. Can we afford the medication? How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to pay for groceries? And all too often with that story, people say, well, you know, I'm not going to monitor my diabetes today. I'm going to throttle my use of devices or strips. I'm going to make a decision not to take my medication so that I can afford other things. And then what's so sad and frustrating talking to doctors is those same people then will come in with much more serious conditions. Often, it sometimes can lead to limb loss or blindness, or God forbid, another chronic disease, or even worse, death. This is not the country we want to be in, and it makes no sense. Because as I said at the top, this isn't just about social justice. It's not just about ensuring that every patient has access to the medication they need. but it's about them being productive and healthy and happy. You know, I talk a lot about my mom. My mom's 80 years old. She's tailgating at Bills games. She's still a practicing psychotherapist. She's having the time of her life. She just said it was the best year of her life. We want that for everybody, right? And it's possible for everybody. I know for Sean and Bobby and I, driving this transformation in healthcare is everything. Because it means not only that more socially just, exciting last 10 years of life, where we expand on the benefit that we already have. Canada's already one of the world leaders in the number of years that we live in wellness and not in illness. But it's going to make us more productive and cost us a lot less money. And I'll end here talking about the extremely important news of universal contraceptives coming here to BC. You know, for a woman making a decision about whether or not she does or doesn't want a family and having control over her own body is essential freedom. And making sure that she can afford the medication to make those choices on her terms, it just makes sense. And today, here in Prince Edward Island, by announcing this, we're setting that future into motion. So, Mark, we made deals on aging with dignity, on working together, we're looking at primary care. We're also announcing today drugs for rare diseases.
Right.
This is another really important step forward in making sure that the folks in about 1 in 12 people are diagnosed with a rare disease. That we're making really important progress with $10 million over 3 years to help expand access to drugs as well for people with rare illnesses. So in conclusion, I just really want to say a huge thank you. The Prince Edward Island is already such a leader in working with folks with diabetes and finding solutions. This builds upon that work and shows what's possible when we work together as jurisdictions to improve our health system. We do believe safeguards are present, and I've just talked about some of those, but we think we have to go that much further to make sure those safeguards are there so that people that are trapped, and by the way, we're talking about people in their own volition in an irremediable mental illness circumstance.
Minister, there are no legislative safeguards.
Well, you can say that.
Well, you haven't cited
theater.
one. You haven't
continue
cited
the play.
any.
Yes.
You haven't cited any, and you haven't responded to the fact that 78% of Ontario psychiatrists believe that whatever so-called safeguards that will be in place are completely insufficient. We're talking about wrongful deaths when there's an inappropriate application of MAIT. That's what we're talking about.
So we're talking here and see in this legislation
is what you've demonstrated is that
no, we're taking
ideological.
First of all, I'm just going to say I reject.
You're playing with people's lives.
I reject that totally. I reject
it's absolutely disgraceful.
No, what is disgraceful is mischaracterizing my position or mischaracterizing the position of any member of Parliament, sir. Saying that any member of Parliament doesn't care about any human life is a disgraceful thing that I will not tolerate.
Well,
and for you to step into this committee and make an accusation of any member of Parliament that they do not care about the life of another human being is absolutely beyond reproach, sir. I have spent my entire life, as you have, fighting for the good in this world. And for you to accuse a good person of not caring about human life, shame on you. Shame on you.